Hello and welcome to our weekly Bible lesson. I think we are on week 8, which is the parable of the talents. So it looks like this. Woo! It's very, very breezy out here. It's so beautiful today. I couldn't resist sitting outside to do this lesson. So hopefully the weather will cooperate. Hair's blowing everywhere, but that's okay. It's too beautiful to be stuck inside. So anyway, I want to read you about the parable of the talents, which is from Matthew 25:14 to 30, and then we'll talk about it. So here we go. For it is as if a man going on a journey summoned his slaves and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to the other one just 1, to each according to his ability. And then he went away. The one who had received the 5 talents went off at once and traded with them and made 5 more talents. In the same way, the one who had the 2 talents made 2 more talents. But the one who had received the 1 talent went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled accounts with them. Then the one who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 more, saying, Master, you handed over to me 5 talents, and see, I have made 5 more. His master said to him, Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things, so now I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. Then the one with the 2 talents also came forward, saying, Master, you handed over me 2 talents. See, I have made 2 more. His master said to him, Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things, so now I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. Then the one who had received the 1 talent also came forward, and he said, Master, I knew that you were a harsh man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you did not scatter seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master replied, You wicked and lazy slave, you knew, did you, that I reap where I did not sow and gather where I did not scatter? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have received what was mine with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to the one with the 10. For all those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. As for this worthless slave, throw him into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now, this story can be kind of confusing because it goes against what we normally think about when we think about Jesus talking. He doesn't ever say, to those who don't have anything, everything will be taken, and to those who have much, more will be given. That doesn't sound like Jesus at all, does it? But it does when you think about what he's actually talking about, which is not quite money, even though that's the example he uses. So first of all, I want to tell you about a talent. A talent is a portion of money used in Jesus's time, and it was worth about 60 denarii. Or 6,000 denarii. And a denarii, or denarius, if it's the singular, was how much you could make in 1 day's hard labor. So a talent was worth 6,000 days worth of labor, which is about like more than 16 years worth of labor. So these slaves were not being given $5. They were being given like $1 million. So the first guy was given, in our time, it would be like $5 million. And when his master came back, he returned that $5 million plus $5 million more. So it kind of changes the idea. It's not just like, oh, here's $5, give me $5 more. $5 million. So the third guy is given $1 million, or 1 talent, which is worth 16 years worth of work, right? So what does he do with it? He doesn't have faith in the owner. And so instead of trying to grow the money and use it, he buries it. So he doesn't use it at all. He hides it. And then when the owner comes back, he says, here's your money, here's what you gave me. So he didn't grow it at all. And so the the idea is, if you think about Jesus being the owner, a lot of times in parables it's God that's the owner, but in this parable, the owner is actually Jesus. And what he is saying to his followers is, I'm going to go away for a time, right? Jesus dies on the cross, so we know he goes away. But he says, I'm also going to return. And when I return, I will have expected you to use what I left you for the good of God's kingdom, to grow people in spirituality, to grow God's kingdom. So he's saying, when I'm gone, you have to continue the work. You have to use the talents that I've given you to grow God's kingdom. I want a spiritual return on my investment in you. And the worst thing that you can do with what God has given us is to hoard it, right? Is to bury it, is to not use it. That's not what God wants. He doesn't want to get back what he started with. He wants us to grow in our faith, grow our hearts, and grow in spirituality so that we are even better when Jesus comes back and that we've grown his kingdom. So that's kind of what the meaning of the story is. So I wonder, how can you grow God's kingdom? What talents has God given you or me or all of us? Well, he's given us the earth. He's given us wealth. He's given us love and family. He's given us brains that can think and hearts that can love. And so God wants us to use those all to do good in the world, to better God's kingdom. And so if we don't use them, if we don't use our hearts, that's just wasting that wonderful opportunity, right? If we don't use our hearts and give it away, then what's the point? If we don't use our brains to make things better and to make things more just and to work for good in the world, what's the point of being smart if you don't use it, right? So that's kind of what Jesus is saying. Use the talents that God has given you to grow God's kingdom so that when Jesus comes back someday, we can say, look what we've done for you. Look what we have done in this world to make it a better place. And Jesus will then say to us, well done, good and faithful servant. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.